Okay, we're going to do a few problems here on page 428. This is either right from the book or there was a worksheet, 428 worksheet, but essentially it's the same stuff. In the book, there's this word problem, number 15. It says, architect, an escalator lifts people to the second floor 25 feet above the first floor. The escalator rises at 30 degrees angle. How far does a person travel from the bottom to the top? So how far do you have to travel if you are on this escalator going up? Well, hopefully you can kind of see that this is a triangle here. It's a right triangle in yellow. And even though it's a word problem, it's really just a right triangle. And it's not only that, it is a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. So this is 30, this is 60, this is 90, and the question is how far does this have to travel? So that's your x here. They say it's 25 feet above the ground. If they wanted this distance opposite the 60, if the opposite of 30 is 25, opposite the 60 would be 25 radical 3. If they want opposite the 90, which they do, the escalator is take the 25 and multiply by 2. So the answer is 50 feet for number 15. Okay, we're going to take a look at number 17 here. It just says find the value of each variable. Leave your answer in simplest radical form. I didn't put all the letters here. I just want to focus in on the numbers that are important right now. This is 45 degrees. This is 30 degrees. There's really three triangles here. There's the big triangle. There's this right triangle here, which is 90 degrees, 45. So this must be 45 up here. This is 90 degrees, 30. So this must be 60 degrees here, which of course means that this is not a 90 degree angle at this big top corner here. But that doesn't really mean much. With this 7.2, this one side length here, 7 radical 2, I should be able to figure out all the other side lengths. Now keep in mind there's really three triangles, so I just want to focus in on this triangle on the far left. This is a 45, 45, 90. If opposite the 90 is 7 radical 2, then opposite the 45 is divide by radical 2. So you divide by radical 2, which would mean this is 7, this is 7. And I'll put that in the picture here. This is 7, this is 7. Now this 7 here can be used to figure out the numbers in the 30, 60, 90 triangle. So if I look at this 30, 60, 90 now, here's 30, here's 60, here's 7. Opposite the 30 is 7, opposite the 60 is 7 radical 3, opposite the 90 is double the opposite of 30, so that's 14. Okay, so now when you go back to the original picture here, this happens to be A, so A is 7, B here is 14, C is 7, and D is right here, and that would be 7 radical 3. And they didn't ask this question, but if they ask what is it all the way here to here, there's 7 radical 3. It is not 14 radical 3. Don't say that. It would just be 7 plus 7 radical 3. You cannot add these two, 7 and 7 radical 3. Look, this radical 3 is like 7 plus 7x. You cannot say it's 14x. Just keep that in mind. You would just leave it alone. Okay, instead of an x, radical 3. Okay, that's 17. Here's number 21. Essentially looks the same here. It looks like a trapezoid here. You've got a 45 degrees, and you have these two unknown side lengths that we have to figure out. First thing you want to do is draw this all-important line. Because we've been dealing with 45, 45, 90, and 30, 60, 90 degree triangles, we need this triangle to be drawn. Don't draw it this way. Just draw it from here straight down. Make a 90 degrees, and now you have a rectangle here, and then of course a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. Now again, the picture does not start with this red line, but you've got to be able to see it. Now of course, if it's a rectangle, if it's 4 on top, it is 4 on the bottom. But also, let's look at this 45, 45 degree triangle here. All the information you need is here, but because there's a 3 radical 2 opposite the 90, so I divide by radical 2. This must be 3, this must be 3. If I go back into the picture, this is 3, this is 3. In this rectangle, if that's 3 there, it's 3 here, and then all the way across is 3 plus 4, 7. And this again is number 21, But the key is to draw that line, create a rectangle and a 45 degree right triangle. And I'm going to do number 25 here, the word problem. I'm going to read it while we're looking at this picture here. Farming. A conveyor belt carries bales of hay, these little yellow guys here, from the ground to the barn loft, 24 feet above the ground. So 24 feet, that means this right here, this guy is 24 feet above the ground. The belt makes a 62 degree angle with the ground. So this is the belt, this is the ground, and this is, I think I said 60 degree angle with the ground. Then it says, how far does a bale of hay travel from one end of the conveyor belt to the other, to the top, from the bottom to the top? This will be your X. And then hopefully you can tell there's a triangle here, a 30-60 triangle there. Okay? And then, by the way, they want to round this to the nearest foot. So if there's a decimal, instead of saying radical 3 or radical 2, we're going to actually use the calculator and turn it into a decimal and so forth. This is 24 feet. This is X, the belt. And we have opposite the 60 is 24. So if I want to go back to opposite the 30, I would actually divide by radical 3. So this is 24 divided by radical 3, which is not really simplified, but we can deal with that later. That's opposite the 30. Opposite the 90 is take this number and multiply by 2. So when you multiply 2 times 24, that's 48 radical 3. Now the reason why I'm not simplifying this 48 radical 3 is because I'm just going to use a calculator here. I could rationalize the denominator and get rid of that radical 3, but they really want us to turn it into a decimal. So I'm just going to go to my calculator. 48 divided by, now it depends on your calculator. This one you got to put in 3 first and then take the square root of it. And I got 27.7 feet from the bottom to the top. We're going to round it to the nearest foot, I believe. So we're going to have to go with 28 feet. It's 28 feet, this conveyor belt. Okay, that's part A. And again, they wanted us to turn it into a decimal rounded to the nearest degree. There is a part B, and it says the conveyor belt moves 100 feet per 1 minute. How long does it take for a bale of hay to go from the ground to the top? Okay, it goes 100 feet per 1 minute. 100 feet per 1 minute. This conveyor belt's only 28 feet, so it's going to be less than 1 minute. It's going to be in seconds then. So instead of saying 100 feet per 1 minute, I'm going to say 100 feet per 60 seconds. Hopefully that makes sense. So it just grinds up 100 feet, 60 seconds. Well, this thing's only 28 feet, so how long would it take? Well, let's set up a proportion. 100 feet to 60 seconds is equal to 28 feet is the length of the conveyor belt over X amount of seconds. Cross multiply it and solve this. Okay, so I'm going to go 60 times 28 here. 1680 divided by 100. This thing is going to take 16.8 seconds to get to the top. Because obviously it is not 100 feet long, so it's going to be less than a minute. 16.8 seconds. Using a proportion.